Hi there, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero Roundtable. With me, your host, Simon Comboy. As always, joining us today, we've got Arnie.
Hi, guys.
And we've got Dan.
Hello again.
So, I think we can safely say this week was a little bit mental.
Yeah.
A lot of surprise. Yeah, the second Bizarro week of the season. Some real shocking results. Not a huge amount of injuries, which is where we're going first in our discussion today. But I think we can probably say the most significant injury of the season.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Almost season-crushingly so.
Like, it is likely going to be the case, you'd think. So, as I'm sure anyone watching this is well aware, Aaron Rodgers is out indefinitely, not being placed on IR yet. They're holding out hope with a broken collarbone.
Actually, was it his right or his left?
Throwing on.
Right.
Okay. I'll say, though, it is Aaron Rodgers. He might play left-handed and still be amazing, because Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I mean, it's apparent here that, they know... I still think this team would have a chance of making the playoffs in that division if Hundley's competent. We don't know enough about him. That if Rodgers could get back, they'd have a chance, which is what they're clinging to. But if he's done, this team can't win a playoff game.
No, I suspect not.
No. Huntley's an unknown. You never know. He could be good. But yeah, this is as significant an injury as it gets. Do we think the Packers are done if he's not playing again?
Yeah, most likely. I mean, Brett Hundley looked okay when he stepped in this week, given the fact obviously he hadn't been getting first team reps in practice. And played pretty well against a very stout defense as well. So, I mean, you never know. I think a couple of weeks go on, we'll kind of see where the guy is. But in all likelihood, we'd have to assume that they are done.
I mean, to me, we've got to wait to see if it's season ending in terms of the regular season, but in terms of being a Super Bowl contender, that's probably it.
Yeah.
Or being able to come back, and I think it's got to be highly unlikely.
Yeah, I think most people had a Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady Super Bowl going. I think the hopes are dashed now, unless he comes back fairly quickly. I mean, collarbones? 8-10 weeks of recovery time, I imagine. You never know.
Depends on the severity of the break, I guess, and I suspect he's probably done, but we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be interesting to see how good Brett Hundley is. Another significant injury of the week. Not many this week, so that's a real plus. Redskins lost defensive lineman Jonathan Allen, first-round pick. He's likely out for about a month. I think that really hurts this team. They're really thin defensively. They've been playing well, but they're down Josh Norman for a few more weeks, and now they're losing Jonathan Allen. I think we could see a bit of a fall off along this defensive group, and they've got the Eagles coming up next week, so they don't even have time to break someone new in.
Yeah, I was just about to say that this injury ahead of the Eagles game is pretty crucial. But being so thin, it doesn't help. They don't have much depth in Washington, as you said. So this could just be piling on. They're going to have to rely on that offense to just outscore the opponent now.
Indeed they will. Arnie, any thoughts on this one?
I think you guys have said that all.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, it's not long enough, I think, to be enormously significant, but I don't know. It's such a cluster in the middle of the NFC right now that even dropping one game as a result of him could end up being huge. And I suppose the other injury news is probably not too significant. Jameis Winston hurt his shoulder, but it sounds that's just an AC joint sprain. Sounds like he's going to be fine.
He's day-to-day, isn't he?
Yeah, day-to-day. He's pretty insistent he's going to play on Sunday. Considering how the Bucs season has gone, if they were maybe 4-1 at this point, maybe I could see them sitting him down for a game. But
yeah, well, I mean, even during that game, you kind of saw him trying to warm up and throw on the sideline as the Bucs were trying to come back. So
yeah,
you see the compassion in him.
Yeah, I thought just from the fact he was on the sideline during the game suggested to me it probably wasn't anything major because he'd been in the locker room, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think we got some guys that are rumoured to be up for trade, so I guess we can go for a couple of them. Do we see any of these happening? A couple of Patriots, Dion Lewis, and he's been heavily shopped. Malcolm Butler, apparently still on the trade block. We've got Kenny Vaccaro with the Saints, and we've got Carlos Hyde of the Niners. Does anyone see any moves happening? And if so, who do you think should be looking at these guys?
I think the two standouts there are probably Malcolm Butler. There's a lot of teams hurting for corner right now. I mean, Titans for one could use that. Could use Malcolm Butler. Carlos Hyde. I think the first team that comes to mind with Carlos Hyde, who have no running game to speak of really, maybe the Seahawks, if they can, because I don't think their running back situation's working out too well.
Yeah, I can see a logic to that. The only problem I kind of have with the Seahawks is I don't know how to evaluate their running backs because that line is that bad. But no one's really stood out amongst that group enough to say it's definitely their job. I think there's a lot of teams that could do with running backs. It's just with the general amount of value that's placed on them, it's pretty difficult to see who'd necessarily be in the market. I mean, I'm looking at sort of thinking about the NFC right now, and other than the Seahawks, nobody jumps to mind.
No, although there is a minor injury update actually.
Possibly Giants. Actually, the Ravens, I feel like they could do with a running back like Hyde. They've been a really run-heavy team, and they don't really have a really talented running back to do that with. So I think that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it would do. Although, actually, just on the end of the injury thing, Luke Kuechly is not practicing, so he might be out.
Oh, yes. He's still in concussion protocol. They're going to take their time with him. I mean, this is fourth concussion in 3 years.
Yeah.
So, with all the new rules, they're going to... I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he missed another 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, he's had his last 2 seasons cut short by concussions. I don't think they can risk throwing him out there too early, especially with the fall off they have in defensively when he's gone. Let's face it, he's one of the most impactful, like I'd say top 5 most impactful defenders in the NFL in terms of when he's not there.
Oh yeah, without doubt.
But any of those other guys, I mean, you, as a Titans fan, would you like to see them bring in Malcolm Butler at this point? But bearing in mind you'd have to pay him big money at the end of the season, and I don't know how much you necessarily get out of him this year.
Well, we've been hurting on the secondary in Tennessee, but we have, when we have been playing games, we have managed to hold the passing game down a fair amount in few weeks. Obviously, the rapport will be there with Logan Ryan, so we'd pretty much have that same secondary that the Pats had last year. Obviously, with more of an improvement with Adore there. But I don't feel that is something we're going to do. I don't feel that that's going to be a need for us going forward. I think we're going to look to improve the group we have.
The reason I can't see it is that it's similar to when LeBeau was with the Steelers. It's a scheme that doesn't place a huge amount of emphasis on the corners.
No.
He fits what the scheme is, but it just feels to me like the amount of money he'd be after, I don't think the Titans would want to pay him at the end of the season.
No.
And they're not. It's not like they're close enough to say, oh, if we add Malcolm Butler, we become a contender. I don't think he's that kind of difference maker either, Malcolm Butler.
No. Another one I've heard as well was apparently Martavius Bryant is looking for a trade.
He demanded one, but I think that's probably one of those spur of the moment things that probably won't go anywhere. I think he's just a bit frustrated because the Steelers have been struggling to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Really not much more to it than that. And he's not played great, frankly, either. So I'd be surprised to see anything come of that.
Yeah. I mean, to add on to the injury report as well, Andrew Luck's been ruled out for this week as well.
Again. Maybe we'll see him this year. Maybe. Starting to wonder what's the point.
If they drop this game against the Jags, then
yeah, I'd say just stick him on IR for the end of the till the end of the year. I don't see any point. You get a nicer draft pick out of having Brissett start for the rest of the year, you'd think. So, and do you think that'd be the way to go?
What, with Andrew Luck?
If they lose this one, do you just put Luck on ice for the rest of the year?
I think I said this last week and the week before. I think sticking Luck on ice for the rest of the year and getting Brissett's trade stock up is the best idea the Colts could realistically have at this point. I mean, that team's nowhere near a contender in any shape or form, so might as well.
If they can win this game at the weekend, they're back in that.
Yeah,
division.
but looking down the stretch, you still beating the Jags is no big accomplishment.
No, but the Jags, you could make a legit argument that the Jags are the best team in that division. That's the thing. There's so little separating those other three teams that Andrew Luck is probably enough to put the Colts in the conversation.
Yeah, but
if they're just out.
Yeah, but is it worth risking your franchise quarterback's health for a small window at the playoffs when realistically, even if you make the playoffs,
if you've got a realistic shot at the playoffs, yeah, I think it's worth the risk.
Yeah, but you're going to get into the playoffs as the Colts in the AFC, and the AFC is pretty stacked this year compared to the NFC.
I would disagree.
Either way, and then what, you're going to get to the playoffs, lose first round against the wild card, and then basically you would have tanked your draft pick. I think it comes down to just thinking tactically. Do you want the draft pick and, I don't know, say improve that O-line, or do you want to try running the table? I think the Colts should just stick them on ice and just be done with it.
It is. Is there anything else anyone wants to bring up before we move on to the games?
I don't think I've seen any other significant news.
No, you've got the usual float.
Quite start to the week.
No, you've got the usual circus following a QB going down, but that's about it.
Yeah, and the Ezekiel Elliott situation continues to drag on. So that's been a fun one. All right, so we'll move on to the Thursday game. So we've got the Chiefs heading to Oakland to take on the Raiders in what I think we can all agree is an absolute must-win for the Raiders if they want to have any shot at getting back into this division. Having lost last week to the Chargers, and they just didn't look good. Derek Carr was back. Did either of you catch this game?
Yeah, I mean, Carr struggled. The offense as a whole struggled. Amari Cooper continues to struggle. The defense is looking the unit that we thought it would be.
They struggled to deal with Melvin Gordon in this one.
Yeah.
It was basically the difference between those two teams. And that O-line's just not playing as well as it was. The defense is what we expected, frankly. They're all right. They can rush the passer a little, but they're not great. Whereas the Chiefs, they finally laid an egg.
Yeah. I mean, that Steelers defense really came to play, I think. I think that was, it's going to happen eventually, but I think the Chiefs will definitely get back on the horse. They've got the weapons and the explosiveness of the offense. The defense is a solid unit. They will jump back on it.
I think it showed that the key to beating this Chiefs team is stopping the run.
Yeah.
First and foremost, and that's what the Steelers did. The O-line had their worst game of the season. I think for the Chiefs, they were getting manhandled. Smith was running around a lot in this. He got beat up. His receivers aren't the most talented group. They were struggling to get open. And the Steelers game planned them perfectly. Chiefs defense played well again. They're a really good unit. I've got no concerns there. Is there any sort of key matchups in this one, do you think, or is this going to be an easy Chiefs win?
I think this is going to be an easy Chiefs win. I mean, we talk about matchups on the defensive side of the ball for the Raiders. Who have they got to line up against those weapons in Kansas? No one.
I think it's a bad matchup for the Raiders. If you look at how the Chargers used Melvin Gordon, that's exactly what the Chiefs do with Kareem Hunt. You've got Kelsey there.
And they've struggled against tight ends this year.
And the Raiders' offense just is not playing well. It's hard to imagine them having a great amount of success against these guys. So I think the Chiefs as heavy favourites.
Yeah, I mean, Marshawn Lynch since week one has been a huge disappointment. He's not getting going, and he seems to be stropping on the sideline.
For me, the line in particular They've been the big disappointment with this Raiders team this year.
I mean, with Murray Cooper struggling as well, Marcus Peters is going to handle him all day. Crabtree.
Stick him on Crabtree at this point.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, you don't actually need anyone to cover Amari Cooper. He'll just drop it. You're just like, I don't need to cover him. He'll drop it, inevitably.
I don't know what's going on there. I really don't.
It's a must-win for the Raiders, but...
Absolutely, I just can't
I can't see it happening.
If the Chiefs had won at the weekend, I'd think maybe you could catch them being a bit complacent. They're way ahead. Maybe they have their off day, but I feel like they had their off day, and this week they're going to be refocused, especially when they can just take out a division.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a statement game again for the Chiefs because they need to reassert their dominance generally because they got fairly manhandled by the Steelers. They need to come out swinging.
They got out physical in that game, which is a term that's overused, but that's totally what happened. So we'll head to the Sunday matchups. We've all got the Chiefs, haven't we? I think that was pretty abundantly clear there. It is. And that will mean the end of the Raiders season. So what a disappointment for them that will be. So first of the Sunday matchups, we've got the massively inconsistent Bucks heading in at 2-3. Probably a must-win game for them, you'd have to think. And the Bills are 3-2 at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah.
Coming off their bye. Bills off their bye. Buccaneers were a bit of a mess, to say the least, especially in that first half. What do we think of this one?
Well, I think the issues you had against the Cardinals was the outside zone contained with the run. I think you might have some problems with that with LaShawn McCoy this week. And it also depends on how Jameis is with the injury, if they decide to sit him or not. I very much doubt they do, but again, it's still an issue to be desired there. If Fitzpatrick starts, it's going to be a real ugly game.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
it's going to be an ugly game anyway. Like that's just how Bills games are.
Yeah. But as Arnie said, though,
you guys really need to contain the run.
Yeah, I mean, you struggle to
That's
contain Adrian Peterson. Obviously, first game in Arizona, obviously not fully to grips with the system yet. But you're going up against one of the best running backs in the league, as far as I'm concerned, off of fresh legs after a week off, and you struggled against Adrian Peterson and a terrible Cardinals O-line. Ooh, he may shred you.
I don't think it. I think that game was an abomination. Other than that game, the Bucks have been pretty good against the run all year. Normally contains the thing they do best. Particularly when I think the way we game planned going into that Cardinals game, I'd have to think they probably weren't paying as much attention to the run. They're thinking it's a Bruce Arians team that can't run block. They're going to be pass heavy. You do not have that problem when you're playing the Bills, and I think this is the issue the Bills have with both Charles Clay missing and Jordan Matthews missing. You've got the rookie Zay Jones and
Someone.
and LaShawn McCoy catching the ball. So that's my concern for the Bills. I think they'll do a good job on the Bucks offense. They'll keep the score low-ish like they usually do. Probably be looking at the Bucks getting between 10 and 24. That's the kind of range you'll be looking at. It'll just be down to the Bills to get points. And if LaShawn McCoy gets contained in this game, I don't know where those points come from.
No, maybe from turnovers.
Yeah, I mean that'll be the key. They'll be huge in this game. Obviously, Tyrod Taylor very rarely turns the ball over. That's the thing the Bills probably do best is win the turnover battle.
But the thing is, though, Tyrod's also made. I mean, I don't know who he's throwing to. I don't think anyone does. Not even the Bills fans know who their wide receivers.
It's been Charles Clay. The last few weeks, it'd been Charles Clay.
Yeah, but he has been finding ways to get it into the end zone, and obviously you've also got.
He's not really though. They've struggled to find the end zone this year. They've been winning games by keeping scores low.
No, but what I mean is he's found ways when most people, including us, going back to pre-season, we're like, yeah, we don't know who he's throwing to. LaShawn McCoy is the offense.
But there were two guys that we could point to and say, well, they're not great, but they're legitimate NFL talent in Charles Clay and Jordan Matthews, and those guys aren't playing.
Oh yeah,
You're taking it's a really weak group with those guys playing, and now it's just the total unknown and LaShawn McCoy, and that's what makes this a bit of a strange one for me. I think if those guys are both playing, the way the Bucks look at the minute, the Bills would be heavily favoured from my end. I'd still say I'm going to predict a Bucks win because I'm always going to predict a Bucks win. Whereas now, I think it's a really difficult one because it's just when you do the paper test, the Buccaneers really should win this one comfortably. But the Bills have been one of the few consistent teams where we know what they are at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the Bills winning this, keeping the score low. Probably winning by, score 17 points might be enough to put away the Bucks with a good, solid defensive showing.
Arnie, how do you see this one going?
I can't decide.
Do you want me to flip a coin for you?
It feels like a coin flip game.
Hold on, let me get.
The thing is, the Bills have played really well on defense this year. I just see the Bucks struggling with that a little bit. Depends what Buccaneers defense comes out because.
Oh yeah.
Titans, you guys have kind of started a bit weak in the first half and got stronger in the second. I'm going to give the edge to the Buccaneers just because I think Doug Martin, he's playing good right now. He's playing strong and hard against some good run defenses. So I just think, and you've always got to give the edge with Mike Evans there.
I mean, I'd give the edge to the Bucs simply because it's a situation where their backs are against the wall.
Yeah.
And generally, teams play pretty well coming off of a whooping.
Yeah.
They tend to come out fired up. I mean, you only have to look at last week's. Most of the time they do.
Yeah.
A really bad performance tends to lead to a good one. It's just...
It is, but I'm not certain on that.
If Jameis is playing, I'm going with the Bucks, but it's tight.
Yeah.
It's hard to go with them after the last week's performance, but I'll just about give them the edge. Next up, we got the Battle of the Purple Teams. The Ravens head into Minnesota to take on the Vikings in what we could probably call the Injury Bowl.
Again, with the Vikings.
Again with the Vikings. I mean, most of the Injury Bowls will contain them. The Ravens, it's just been the same every week. Their defense is pretty good. The offense is a mess. Losing to the Bears is never going to feel good. But some bad times.
Do we know if they have the Vikings will have Stephon Diggs this week?
Yeah. But I mean, the Vikings, I just think they're such a well-coached team. I mean, we've seen them dealing with these injuries and still looking pretty good. I still think their defense might be the best in the league.
Oh yeah, that defense will keep them in games.
These teams are pretty similar in the way they're both looking to play at the moment, and the Vikings are just doing, I think, everything better than the Ravens.
Yeah,
they play pretty well.
They're similar. You've got to say the Vikings definitely have the edge considering the playmakers that they have. I mean, Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah,
Rhodes, probably the best corner in the league now.
Rhodes and Smith are playing great. The line's really good. The backers are good. They're just good. The offense is playing reasonably well. So I've got the Vikings taking this one.
I've got the Vikings.
Oh yeah, I've got the Vikings as well.
Yeah. Zimmer doing a great job there. So we've got the rematch between the Jets and the Dolphins. The beginning of the Jets' magical fairy tale of the last few weeks began with beating the Dolphins, who had maybe the shock victory of the season, considering the circumstances, coming back from a 17-0 deficit away to the Falcons. Don't know where that came from. And the Jets, they put up a good fight as well. They only just about lost to the Pats.
Yeah, me and you were very heavily watching that game. We thought it wouldn't be a game that we would heavily be watching, considering...
Yeah, I've never wanted the Jets to win a game so much in my life.
Oh, yeah. They ended up getting manhandled in the end. Obviously, there was a very questionable...
manhandled,
touchdown. But I thought the Jets are playing quite well on offense, given the circumstances. Jermaine Kerson's playing really well. Safari Jenkins is working out for them.
the difference in that game was just the mistakes. The Jets made some big mistakes. The Patriots didn't. And the Dolphins, their defense is playing great. They were great this weekend. The offense got going in the second half. Ajayi ran the ball. I mean, at this point, the way that Dolphins defense is playing, I've got to have them winning this game. As much as I respect what the Jets are doing and how good their defense is playing, I think that game last week for the Dolphins might be a bit of a turning point.
Yeah. I mean, you've just got to hope Jay Cutler starts improving more and more as the weeks go on. And as long as they can limit the turnovers with him, I think
I feel like the Cowboys are going to turn the ball over against this team.
Yeah, I just think the Dolphins' defense is playing way too well. We saw it against the Titans. We saw it against the Falcons last week. We've seen it all year. So
they've not played that game yet. So
edge goes to the Dolphins.
I think this is going to be a game of turnovers, to be honest with you. I don't know. It could.
It's always possible.
Yeah, it could go.
Quarterback.
It could go either way based on the quarterback play. I'm actually going to go with the Jets because they've already beaten them, and I trust what they did against them last time. And I don't trust Jay Cutler to not make a mistake at some point. So I'm going to go with the Jets.
Well, next up we got the Cardinals with a really big matchup for them as they head to LA to take on the Rams.
They're not in LA.
They're in Twickenham.
Oh, it's at Twickenham, isn't it? I wonder. Yes, because it's got the regular kickoff time.
Yeah.
Yeah, strange. This feels like a really big game for the Cardinals. I don't feel like they can afford a loss here.
I think this is a big game.
I think it's bigger for them. I feel the Rams can probably afford a loss. They're still in a good position within the division. I feel like if the Cardinals lose this one, they'll be, 3 games behind? Or 2 games behind?
Here's the thing. I don't think the Rams can afford this loss either because it's against a divisional opponent. And when all is said and done, as much as I like to believe in my Cardinals, I suspect it's going to be Rams, Seahawks competing for number 1, and this could be a crucial tiebreaker. So this is both teams have obviously got wins.
It's a big game, but for the Cardinals, it feels pretty backs to the wall for me.
Yeah, I mean this is the Cardinals' opportunity to climb out of the hole they've dug themselves into. Let's be clear here. They've dug themselves into it. Teams haven't beaten us. We've beaten ourselves.
They have played. Well, I don't know. I think that may be giving a bit too much credit to the talent on the Cardinals team. They've been. I mean, their offensive line's a mess. They played well in the first half against the Bucks. They were atrocious in the second half. The offense couldn't do anything in that game. Well, in the second half of that one. Whereas the Rams, they put up a solid performance against the Jags. It wasn't as fluid as they've looked most weeks, but then this Jags defense is very good. But I thought their defense played pretty well. They've got gashed by Fournette early, but then they stiffened up. I think that's a progression that Rams fans will be happy with.
Well, yeah, Rams are definitely one of the dark horse teams this year. They've performed a lot better than I thought they would. I wouldn't be surprised if they run away with this division. If they win this game against the Cardinals, I can see them running away with the division now.
Well,
obviously,
maybe.
You've still got a lot to work out.
Yeah, but the NFC West is pretty soft, so it's not. They could play mediocrely and still run away with the division. Obviously, I want the Cardinals to win this, but I wouldn't be surprised if we lose based on how we dealt with the Bucks. And I think the Bucks are a weaker team than the Rams. So
it's just that at the moment, the Rams are just playing better football. They're playing pretty consistently. The Cardinals will have to rattle Goff, but I've got the Rams to win this one. They're just playing better right now.
Yeah, you say rattle Goff with what pass rush?
Well, that's part of the issue.
And also, I don't trust the Cardinals travelling to England. Let's be straight here. I really don't. That's a long journey, a long flight.
Well, I mean, for me, it's also this Cardinals line pass protecting against Aaron Donald.
Oh God, I actually forgot about that. Oh no.
So yeah, I mean, I've got the Rams. If the Cardinals can start win this one, then they'll turn me around on them maybe. But they're going to have to be better than they've shown. And this Peterson thing is going to have to show it wasn't like last week. I put it down to a combination of the Bucks playing really badly and him coming out with a point to prove. I'm not sure we'll see a repeat, but so I've got the Rams.
I've got the Rams. I think even though this is a must-win for the Cardinals, because if they lose this game, you were right, they are 2 games behind in this division. I think that's a too sizable deficit to be back. But I read an interesting stat about the Cardinals. When they rush on 42% of their play calls, they are 19-0.
Oh God, no! Don't say. Well, okay, fine. Hand it off to Peterson all day, every day.
But yeah, I've got the Rams anyway.
Obviously, I have to pick the Cardinals. I wouldn't be surprised if we lost this and the season goes down the toilet, though.
We've got an AFC matchup, South matchup next. My favourite, the Jags and the Colts. I thought for the Colts, last night's game was fairly similar to the week before against the Seahawks, where played a really good first half.
Yeah, and they fell apart. I mean, they've been doing that. Yeah.
I mean, yesterday it was the offense. The offense just couldn't do a thing in the second half. That cost them. But they've not been as bad as people expected, I think that's safe to say. And the Jags just can't build any momentum. It's like all the teams in this division. They win, they lose, and win, they lose.
It's the thing of this division. I mean, the Colts defense played fairly well last night. They got a little bit of pressure on Mariota given the strength of that O-line.
They were put in bad situations in the second.
You've got to remember with the Colts, the issue I have with them is the fact that they played okay against the run. Obviously, they were on the field for a long time in that game. The Titans had the majority of the possession.
They dominated.
But you've got to remember, on all of our drives, apart from 2, well, 3 actually, we scored. So that's obviously an issue for that defense going forward. But the Jags, their secondary is going to be way too much for Brissett to handle. I mean, if they struggled with our defense last night, they're going to struggle with that.
Yeah, this one for me comes down to I trust Fournette to get points. I don't trust the Colts to get points. I think the Jags pass rush will have a big game this one as well. So I've got the Jags winning.
Yeah, I've got the Jags.
How do you see this one go?
I want the Colts to win because I want Brissett to have a good game, so he's more tantalising for the Cardinals to trade for. That's my only concern at this point in time. I actually want him as my QB, but yeah, Jags are probably going to win this.
I would think so. Next up, we got the Saints heading to Lambeau. Man, if Rodgers was healthy, this would look like one of the best games of the week.
Oh yeah.
But as he's not. So the Packers, they lost. They looked a bit toothless once Rodgers went down. Played okay on the defensive side. The Saints, I mean, I don't even know where to start with that game against the Lions. Have you gone back and watched that game, Arnie?
Yeah, I mean, when we were watching that game, every single play was a big play.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Neither team could tackle in that game. It was just so bad to watch.
It is one of the worst executed games of football I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, big mistakes from both offenses. Big mistakes from both defenses. It was crazy. I don't know if either team can take much away from it because it was that mental.
Well, the fact that the Lions managed to come back from that lead, crazy to think.
Yeah, it was absolutely absurd game. Looked like a game of Madden.
It did.
We've got So who have we got in this one?
Well, the thing is, because of how bad the Saints' defense was, you kind of, with the weapons that Brent Hundley's got, you might have to, in a way, kind of give the edge to the Packers. But obviously, it's good. You're going to have to outscore Drew Brees. So it's still a hard one to call.
It is.
But I'm actually going to give Brett Hundley his win here. I just think that defense is too bad.
Yeah, I'm actually going to change my my pre-show prediction for this. I'm going with the Packers because it's Lambeau. we're in the middle of October, so it's going to probably start getting cold. Yeah, no, I've got Packers.
I'm gonna go with the easy route and go with Drew Brees, but I would have to give the Packers more of a chance than I think a lot of people will. I think they've ran the ball quite well the last. Like this rookie running back, this Jones fella, he looks like a pretty good player. Yeah. They're playing better defensively than I thought they would this year. And Breeze tends not to do great in these kind of conditions. I still feel like the Saints will probably just edge them. I think maybe it's a bit early in the Brent Hundley sort of cycle of playing games. Like maybe give him a couple. I think we'll start seeing him playing well.
Hey, you never know. He might turn into another Matt Flynn.
I'm pretty sure he's got higher expectations than that. So we've got me with the Saints, you two with the Packers. We'll move on to a pretty uninteresting game. We've got the Panthers heading to Chicago. Panthers last week, that was a really good game. Thoroughly enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
Panthers defence looks pretty good. The one big concern we already mentioned with Kuechly, they weren't as effective with him out as you'd expect. And the offense, I mean, Cam was very scattershot in this game.
He was. Some of the throws he was making in that game was just awful.
My other worry with this Panthers team is they've been so bad running the ball these last few weeks.
Yeah.
That they could actually, like this Bears team, as much as I said this matchup is boring, I could see the Bears winning this one. The Bears, like their front seven is really good. They played great again at the weekend, and they can run the ball well. And if Kuechly's missing, I think they'll be able to have some success at that.
Yeah.
Trubisky gives them some hope. That mobility has been invaluable in the 2 games he's played because they can't pass block very well, but they can run. So how do we see this one going?
I've got the edge to the Panthers. I think Cam Newton would just bounce back and sort of take it. I mean, I'd love to kind of give the underdog. The Bears will still be the underdog in this case because their front seven has played well all year. Jordan Howard will have probably a good game if Kuechly's out, but I just can't see. I just can't see the Panthers losing this one.
It is. Dan?
As much as I'd like to believe in the Trubisky-led Bears, if Cam Newton bounces back and he's not a scattershot, the Panthers should win this solidly. Even with Kuechly, if he doesn't play, obviously it's not been ruled out yet, but I see no reason for the Panthers to drop this game. I suppose it is a bit of a trap game, but
I'm gonna assume, the Bears have been better than people think. I think Kuechly doesn't play in this one. I think they keep him out, even if he's cleared as a precaution. It comes down to whether we get good Cam or bad Cam. We've had 2 games where he's been stellar, the rest he's been very poor. I'm gonna go with the Bears in this one. I just have a feeling at home that they're going to catch the Panthers at the right time, and the Bears will steal this one. I just don't like that Panthers O-line. I really don't. And I think the Bears can have the guys to take advantage of that. Akeem Hicks, by the way, guy no one's heard of, who is playing absolutely great this year. And he has been one of the best linemen in football. Move on to the last of the 1 o'clock games. We've got the Titans at 3-3, head into the winless Browns.
Trap game.
What a fucking game.
I'm so nervous for this game, you don't even understand. I don't want to be that team. I really don't want to be the team that gives them their win.
You don't want to be the Chargers, basically.
Being on paper, it looks like obviously the easy route. Everyone's going to go with the Titans here, but just
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, if Mariota is a bit more healthy this week, it opens up the playbook more. Obviously, we saw in the Colts game that obviously we had to limit the playbook with Mariota. And obviously, DeMarco seems to be having some sort of injury issues. He doesn't look himself. I think Corey Davis and Cyprian are already ruled out. But I've got to say, we should win this clean and we should win this comfortably. But I don't want to be the team. That's the only thing I'm scared of, is being that team that loses, gives the Browns their first win.
Yeah, I mean, the Browns were just bad on offense again last week. The defense has moments, but they give up big plays. Too much youth on this team, it still feels like. And the Titans, again with the slow start, but the defense was a lot better this week. I mean, you got to go with the Titans. The Browns are a mess. I mean, the Titans have an amazing ability to play down to the other team. They're kind of like the mini Steelers in that regard. Like when the Titans play bad teams, they do not do a good job of steamrolling them and winning comfortably. They tend to hang around and give them a shot. But you got to go with the Titans. The Browns look awful.
Yeah.
Dan?
No, kind of a foregone conclusion. I'm picking the Titans, but this is a trap game. Every team that faces the Browns is a trap game. So they just need to be careful and, as you said, don't play down.
The motivation should be not being the team to lose to them.
Yeah, we need to get. Yeah, we got a massive win. Obviously, it's not going to be massive to a lot of other people. Obviously, winning the division is huge. We need to put that past us and just move on to this game. Because if we go in with a head of steam and confidence, that's where the Titans fail.
Yeah.
Seen it a lot of occasions.
Well, moving on to 9 o'clock slate, we've got the Cowboys heading to the Niners, who may be the best 0-6 team the league's ever seen.
They've set an NFL record, haven't they, for how many close games they've had?
Every single one of their last 5 games has been within 3 points, I believe.
3 points, yeah.
Which is incredible. They brought in CJ Beathard this weekend. I guess that was the big news, and he looked pretty sharp.
Yeah. I think the thing that's keeping them in the games is their defense, though.
Yeah, defense is playing well. D-line's doing a good job. Just as a whole, they're playing quite well. Offense is still a bit lacking, but yeah, there's not a huge amount of talent there. Cowboys are on their bye. I wouldn't be that shocked if the Niners won this one.
I mean, the whole NFL world would love the Cowboys to lose this game.
Oh yeah,
let's face it.
Because everyone wants to take the mick out of the Cowboys.
Yeah.
This
would be the icing on the cake.
Oh, it would be.
For NFL.
But that's it. Are any of us taking the Niners in this one?
Hell yeah.
Obviously, you've got the Niners for this.
Hell yeah. My hatred of the Niners is eclipsed by my hatred of the Cowboys. So I want the Niners to win this.
Yeah, I want the Niners to win. I don't think they will. It's a big
it's
game
Dallas.
for the Cowboys.
It's Dallas with no Zeke. They'll find a way.
Zeke's playing.
Okay, he's not suspended.
Not yet, no.
Regardless. I want the Niners to win. They'll probably pull this out somehow. It seems typical Cowboys fashion to lose against an over the 16.
They get one at some point, and the Cowboys defensively haven't been great secondary. But it's a rookie. It's a rookie making his first start. I'm going to trust this Cowboys offense to get the job done in this one.
Yeah, I mean, if the Cowboys lose this one, I think they're done within that division.
It would be very difficult. They'd be 2-4.
Yeah. Potentially 4 games out.
Yeah. I mean, that would feel like a mountain to overcome, especially with Zeke's suspension upcoming in all likelihood. Next up, we got a divisional game. Back to the FC West. The Broncos coming off one of the shock defeats of the season. The Giants finally got a win.
I mean, it was just bad play, mistakes by the offense.
Mistakes by the offense. The defense played okay, well enough to win a game. But yeah, the offense was a bit messy. They just weren't able to generate big plays defensively, which was a big shock to me. There was a huge amount of pressure on Eli.
No.
They had a game against the run by a mile. Like the Giants were able to run on them. Like the Giants actually won the battle on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Pierre Paul was huge.
Giants defense really did turn up in that game.
Yeah, they looked like the group we expected. Yeah, shocking loss. And they got the Chargers, who have been playing close games all year and have finally managed to pull a couple out. Big win against the Raiders. Their backs against the wall this week, much like the Raiders. They need to win to keep their division hopes alive. I mean, if they do win, they're back in the division.
Yeah, they'll only be 2 games out.
So who have we got and why? The Chargers played pretty well this weekend. Defensively, they're playing great. And Melvin Gordon's playing great right now as well.
Yeah, but I think the Broncos will be able to, defense will be able to slow them down. I think we call that as a hiccup for them. Even though we have seen them get gashed by the run a couple of times now. But I think it will be a hiccup for them. But the offense has had a bit of a downer in the past few weeks.
Last few weeks,
Great.
Simeon's made some bad decisions.
And Emmanuel Sanders is injured, is he not?
He is missing this game.
Yeah, so, I mean, he does seem to be one of his favourite targets to go to.
Yeah.
It's a hard game to call because, I mean, as you said before, like the Chargers, their record doesn't show how good they've actually been this year.
They're competitive.
Yeah. I mean, they've lost 2 games from their kicker. Realistically, they should be looking at being, 4-2. It's a hard game to call. It really is.
Yeah, I've got the Chargers taking this one. This Broncos offense is really struggling, and I think without Sanders, I think these 2 pass rushers will get it done.
I may have to agree with you on that one, actually.
I've got the Broncos just because I trust the Broncos D to force turnovers off of Rivers.
And you don't like the Chargers.
I wouldn't say don't like, I just don't believe in the Chargers. But I trust the Broncos to probably score points off of Rivers' turnovers, which wouldn't surprise me.
I think this game will be defined by turnovers. I really do. Next up, we got another divisional matchup: the Steelers and the Bengals, with the Steelers hosting. Bengals coming off the bye, Steelers getting a much-needed win against the very highly touted Chiefs. Man, was the Steelers' defense good in this game there?
It was.
Mentioned earlier.
This is a huge game because the Bengals can get straight back in this division.
Yeah, massively. The Bengals have been much improved in their last couple of games. The offense actually looking competent, and their defense has been playing pretty well all year.
Yeah.
Steelers' offense, passing game still not quite coming together, but Le'Veon Bell's looking good the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a tough one to call. So, who have you got?
Games this week. I'm going to take the Bengals here. I think their offense has looked good the last couple of weeks since they fired their coordinator. I just think it will come together nicely for them. The defense has played better, and I think the whole round team so far has played in the last couple of weeks has played better than the Steelers have. I mean, their offense just hasn't looked the same. I think the Bengals win this and get back in the division.
Dan?
I think if the Steelers can carry on their the defensive performance from this week, I've got them taking this. I don't trust the Bengals quite enough offensively yet. They're obviously a lot better than they were at the start of the season. But no, and the Steelers are at home as well. It's kind of hard to, in division games, Steelers at home, Steelers tend to come out on top, 90% of the time.
Yeah, I've got the Steelers winning this one. They're both playing similar, on a similar level, it feels to me. The Steelers' defense, last week was like the standout game for them, but I think they've been playing really well all year. With the way Lev Bell's running at the moment, I just think that gives them a bit more of an edge. The Bengals, offensively, I think a bit easier to shut down. If you can deal with AJ Green, I think the Steelers will have a plan for him. I think they're very limited. For that reason, I can see the Steelers winning. But I would not be shocked because, frankly, Andy Dalton's playing at a higher level than Roethlisberger right now.
Yeah.
Bizarrely. I don't like the Bengals' offensive line, and I think the Steelers will take advantage of that. So we'll move on. We've got the Seahawks heading to New York to take on the Giants. This is a bit of an odd one.
It is.
theory, should have been one of the games of the season heading in.
It should, but I think I don't know.
See,
Well,
because these are two teams
had
that
to
have
fight
got bad O-lines.
to fix that offensive
see,
line.
before this week, before the Denver game, I would have looked at this and gone, Seahawks defense, Denver defense, really, really good Ds. I don't see the Giants pulling it out, but they pulled it out against Denver. This could go either way. If the Giants defense steps up again with that O-line with Wilson, that's going to be, oh god, it's going to be a mess.
Yes.
With this, I trust the Seahawks offense more than I do the Denver offense.
What you mean there is you trust Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
I mean, how do the Giants approach taking on this Seahawks defense? Well, I say that they just took on the Broncos, who were arguably better, so they go with the same approach. You'd have to think.
Are they still without their receivers, no?
Well, bear in mind 3 of them are on IR, so yes.
Okay, so this is going to be
Beckham, Marshall. They're not coming back, and whoever their 4th receiver is, his name.
Shepard. Yeah.
Shepard's the 3rd. He's out for a few more weeks, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, the Seahawks have been good against tight end matchups this year. So
you kind of have to go with the Seahawks because it's just hard to see the Giants scoring. But
yeah, I'd agree on that.
I'd argue the same's true about the Seahawks, though.
Now, Seahawks have managed to score in the last few
weeks. The Giants haven't played to that level every week. If the Giants play like they did last week defensively, this one's really hard to call. It could end up 3-3.
Yeah, I mean, for the record, I'm calling this. I'm going to call this a tie with field goals. I see this being a 12-12 game, just four field goals apiece.
This is your weekly tie.
Oh yeah.
I think you have called the most ties out of anyone, and you have not been right.
Yeah, but can you blame me legitimately? The matchups I have called ties for. Can you blame me?
Yes, I can. Look at him.
Yes, don't call ties. They're incredibly rare.
Yeah, well, I'm calling a tie for this.
It sounds logic, but yeah, I've got to take the Seahawks.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, it was one game.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got a stunner on Sunday, though. The Super Bowl rematch as the Falcons head to New England. Both of these teams, not particularly impressive last week.
No, but I mean, you put the matchups there. I mean, Falcons coming off a game where they blew a lead. Pat had to come back to win a game. This sounds very familiar to me.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, it's big for both teams as well because neither one's got off to a flying start to the season. Yeah, I mean, if they lose this one, they're 3-3 and they're right in the middle of the NFC. And if the Patriots lose this one, then they're caught up in the giant mess that is the AFC East.
Yeah, the Falcons just need to make sure they don't score 28 points before the half, really. And
as long as they haven't got a 25-point lead.
Yeah, as long as they don't hold a lead, then they might actually win.
The thing is, these teams are so different to what they were playing that game. The Falcons' offense clearly not the same, and the Patriots' defense is clearly not the same. So that whole matchup is entirely different to what it was in that game. And on the other side of things, the other side of the ball, they've been both been pretty stable. So who have we got and why?
Patriots, because they had Tom Brady and they've already done it in the biggest game.
I've got the Falcons because the Patriots have struggled against the pass this year, and I think Julio Jones is just too big of a matchup problem for them.
Fair enough. I've got the Pats. Simply, the Falcons just haven't impressed me much this year offensively. I know the Patriots' defense has been really struggling, but I just feel like the Patriots will have a good game plan in place. They've improved the last couple of weeks, and Brady's playing lights out. Matt Ryan's playing okay, but not much more than that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Pats, but this is a tight one. And then on Monday, I think we're all probably agreed this might be the game of the week, right?
Oh yeah, right out.
Which is like other two loves, aren't they, Dan? Yeah. Kirk Cousins and the Eagles, or you've always had a
Oh,
weird soft spot?
this is going to be a soft spot for the Eagles?
Yeah,
No, that was the Michael Vick Eagles, remember?
that was just Michael Vick. They had LaShawn McCoy, D-Jax. They had like all your favourite non-Cardinals.
Yeah, and they had the most glorious throwback uniforms in the league.
I mean, this game for the Eagles could really be this is our division, because, I mean, they win this game, they're 3 games ahead.
Oh yeah, it feels like if they win this one. And haven't they already played the Skins?
I'm not sure.
I feel like they played in like week 2.
Let me check.
I'll check. I'm already on it, don't worry.
Well, while we do that, the Eagles, kind of mentioned it, they played really well last week on both sides of the ball. Put together a very nice performance to beat the Panthers. Redskins, iffy defensively, and this is why when I was talking about Jonathan Allen earlier, I was a bit concerned, because to give up that many points to the Niners doesn't fill you with the most confidence.
Week 1, they've already faced each other.
There we go.
The Eagles won 30-17.
Yeah, it felt like they'd played each other. So yeah, absolutely. If the Eagles win this one, I mean, could you imagine if the Cowboys lost to the Niners and the Eagles won this one? They would be 4 games up with the tiebreaker on that team, and then 5 games ahead of the team.
Yeah.
Oh,
3 games ahead of the Redskins.
3 games, but effectively 4 games because you've got the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Or 3.5 games, and then so the Skins need to win this, and that's not just for them, that's for the rest of the division, and it will certainly bring the NFC right back into the thick of things. It would become really ugly and tight. So I'm hoping the Redskins win for the sake of chaos. And for that reason,
I mean, pretty much every other division is in that chaos sort of part at the moment, apart from this division and the Chiefs.
Yeah, well, it's been that kind of a season. The season's been crazy. It's ugly, and the consistent good teams.
It's also odd. That.
So I'm taking the Skins, damn it.
But I think the Eagles have been one of the most consistent.
They have been. I mean, them and the Chiefs have been the most consistent.
Yeah. Andy Reid's current team and his former team turn out to be the 2 most dominant teams in the league right now. It's bizarre.
I'm not saying they've been dominant. I mean, they've been consistent. The Eagles haven't been dominating teams for the most part. They've been pretty tight games, but I mean, they're playing very well. Carson Wentz looking much improved. All those off-season additions have been great. But yeah, I'm taking the Redskins because chaos theory. This season's nutty. The Skins just need it so bad.
I'm taking the Eagles. I think they're just a hard team to beat. They got too much everywhere. I don't see the Skins pulling this one out. It's going to be a struggle.
I don't like their secondary, and if there's one team that can slow down this pass rush, it's the Skins.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, it's a Monday night game in the NFC East. God, but anything can happen.
They're at home. Their fans are going to be going absolutely bananas, and they're playing well at the minute. But I just want their Skins to win so bad.
As much as I do love my Kirk Cousins, I've got the Eagles for this.
Arnie, you got final say.
I've got the Redskins because I want chaos at the end of the season.
We want madness. We want everyone to have lost 2 or 3 games by the end of this week.
Yes, I do.
God, could you imagine?
I just feel like I'd rather put my hands in Kirk Cousins than Carson Wentz.
Really?
I have faith. Yes, I have faith that Kirk Cousins can pull this one out. I just feel like he's more composed in this sort of situation.
I have faith in Cousins in the big games. I've got faith in him when it's against nobody.
Yeah, he's too gunslingy to be that reliable in their primetime games.
So is Carson Wentz, though. You can throw the same argument at him. Exactly. Well, last couple of games, though. So there we have it. This looks like a good week, to be honest. A lot of interesting matchups.
Yeah, I mean, sort of last week we didn't rate a lot of the matchups and it turned out ahead of a week of football. So,
well, it was the 6 o'clock slate that we were saying was terrible, and it ended up being great. So.
Yeah.
You never know. But yeah, looking forward to this week. A lot of teams in big situations, starting to get that real important feel each week where there's like 5 or 6 games you just look at and teams just can't afford to lose. It's only going to get worse. So that's all good. Before we wrap up, anything anyone wants to highlight, bring up?
I just don't want to get trapped game. I don't want to be that team. I'm just going to keep saying it for the rest of the week, but I don't want to be that team.
No one wants to be that team. I mean, I feel like the Browns will get a win this year. But
I can't see it being today.
I mean, I can in that the Titans just do have that ability to.
Well, we did it with the Colts.
Against the Jags, like every time they play. We'll see how it goes. So there you have it, guys. Hope you enjoyed watching it. I think we can all agree this is much better than last week's.
Yeah, definitely. No problem this week.
The Lost podcast.
A better energy is.
Happy with how this one's turned out. So thank you so much for watching. We all really do appreciate it. As always, if you've enjoyed this, check out some more of the show. We'll be doing this again next week. There's reviews, previews, Bucks and Titan talk on the channel. There'll be some other bits going up. Working on a few different ideas at the moment. And if you can like, share, subscribe, check out the Patreon, that'd be grand. So there you have it. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great evening. Go Bucks.